Okay. Tuesdays with Tuenika.
Yes. All right. Here we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tuesdays with Tuenika. And I am here with my friend of over 24 years. So let me go ahead and do this intro. I have something typed out, so correct me if I miss something. So she is a wife of 20 years, just celebrated 20 years with her husband, Rich, and her birthday and her anniversary are on the same day, which is the Love Day, February 14th. She is a mom to Zoe Slaughter, and Zoe happens to be the first African-American golfer at woman at Texas A&M.
Correct.
Got it. She is a sister and an auntie, and like I said, my friend for over 24 years. She is also a breast cancer survivor. She happened to be the #1 wealth advisor for Bank of America in 2000. What year was it?
This year.
This year? Oh gosh. Okay, 2022. All right. And she was also the recipient of the Aggie Foundation Award for 2022? 21. She is humble, she's loving, she's everything, and she is a true gem. And that's my intro. All right. So, it's Women's History Month. We've been trying to do this interview for the last 2 weeks. And I was like, the person that I look up to, that I love, that I admire, I just had to have you on. So I want to thank you for, gracing us with your presence today, because I know your schedule is very busy. So I have this little questionnaire that I sent you. I don't know if you had a chance to view the questions yet. So it may be, okay, well, that's okay. So I want to ask you, do you remember when we first met?
I don't remember when we first met, but our relationship is so iconic because there were so many similarities, and the paths at that time, God just brought us together. And I remember being in your apartment and we just clicked, and oh my God, I found a sister I never had, right? It was amazing.
Yes, it was amazing. So let me move back real quick. I forgot to say she is a sibling. It's only 2 of you. So that's why she said sister she never had. So it's her and her brother. And so we first met. I remember when we first met, when I first met you probably Kafi, I lost you. Do you see? There you go. Okay, there it is. We're back. So I had just gotten a position at Fifth Third Bank. We both worked there, and it was a manager training opportunity that, shout out to Fawn, my friend Fawn. She was like, they're hiring managers right out of college, so just come on. And I remember our first location and you walking up and like handling business. That's my first. I said, who is this young lady? She was coming and I was like, hello. And I was like, who are you? She's like, hi, I'm Kafi. I'm Kafi. And I was like, this is the person I want to get to know. And from there, you moved up in the ranks. You were assistant vice president. And if you all want to check out her LinkedIn profile, you can just, go to LinkedIn and check out Kafi Slaughter. And so that was my first impression, go-getter. I remember that. And we were at the teller line and I was just sitting there. So I want to put this disclaimer out there already. Kafi knows I'm a crier. I do cry. I'm trying not to cry today. But yes, we have a similar, background. So a lot of you, as I've shared before, I wanted to be able to tell my story and tell the stories of those who have been an encouragement to me over my lifetime. And Kafi is one of those people. So just to piggyback, again, I was married young and, just trying to figure out life. And I don't know if you want to touch on that, but I am a divorcee, remarried, thank the Lord, with 4 beautiful children. But that's what she's talking about, is how our paths kind of forged
We
into like.
did. Yeah. And you forget, we were in a place that we had never been before, which was Alaska. Well, I was in
You have been.
Alaska, Ohio, which I
Yes.
had never been to, or the Midwest. So it was
Right.
really new to me. We were super young. We were green. Just trying to be the best that we could be as wives, and married to some really successful military folks, and so be good military officers' wives.
Yes. And I guess at
And
that time, oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah, at that time,
Yeah.
and by the grace of God, Tuenika came into my life, and we chatted it up, and you can see she's in her element right now. Very social, very bubbly, very giving. And I was just with this brick wall. And so that's why we connect.
Yeah. And throughout that friendship, my brother ended up moving down, remember?
Yeah.
And we were helping him. I mean, we were just trying to, just like you said, figure it all out. And I had, born and raised in Ohio, but again, new wife, new military lifestyle. And then that is what, that lifestyle brings you, these connections and people that you'll meet, and you'll be forging those friendships for a lifetime. And here we are today. And there's more to share on that. So one of my questions would be, what should everyone know about Texas, or your upbringing in Texas, or what you want to tell us about Texas?
Well, first of all, I would encourage folks to visit Texas. Texas is so huge that we have different Texan cultures in different cities. So the major cities are Houston, Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio. But then you have like Waco and some smaller towns, kind of like Youngstown, Ohio, which are super cute today because folks our age have moved back to their hometowns and like made it very a close-knit community with kids and families. But Houston, I think, is the best because Houston's so diverse. It's probably the most diverse city as far as cultures and different languages. I think we have something like 40 something languages spoken.
Wow. I didn't know.
In Houston. Wow. Yeah. I mean, Dallas is a little bit different. There's this Houston, Dallas, kind of riff or whatever. But Dallas is a little bit more structured. Houston it's easy to navigate from a business standpoint, a culture standpoint, and it's just welcoming. So I'm a native Houstonian, and I grew up south of town in Sunnyside, and it's one of we call it food deserts, right? It is I don't even know why people say this because I don't think of it as this because I grew up that way. Like when you grow up having nothing, you don't think you don't have anything, right? Until it's out in the world, like you didn't have. So, but in my 4 walls with my 2 parents who are educators, we had everything we needed. But it is today it is one of the underserved populations in Houston, neighborhoods in Houston. And I think I was there till maybe I was like 5 or 6. And then my parents, quote unquote, built a house, right? A new home in Hiram Clark. And it was at the time Jewish and Black. and not too far from Sunnyside. And it was the best upbringing ever. We had a huge backyard. I didn't realize until I was in high school that my parents were one of maybe a few parents in the neighborhood that were married and educated, meaning college educated, but for a long time. So our house was a revolving door. My mom cooked every day, and there weren't too many girls on the street. So I was a tomboy. Can't see.
Right.
Yeah, I was a tomboy, and I used to run up and down the street. And then I realized I was really fast. And like, long story short, used to get up at 5 a.m. with my dad and run miles. And then I joined the cross country team, and that's how I paid for college. So I got a college scholarship to Texas A&M University. Yeah.
Amazing. So tell us again about your dad. I mean, I know you said they were educators, but your father also was a caddy for PGA. Can you shed a little light on that too?
So I'll back up a bit, and I think it's important to. So my late at night hobby is genealogy, right? So I haven't gotten to my mom's side just because my dad's side is like, it's a lot. I'm sure my mom's the same, but so my dad was one of 13 from Port Arthur, Texas, and he played football, but he was scrawny and tall. He's like 6'5", and everybody on my dad's side is like 6'1" and above. Even the ladies. I'm the shortest at 5'6". But everyone else played football and basketball, and he just didn't like it. And he got some hand-me-down shoes. Everything was hand-me-down with 13 kids. So he needed to make some money. And his high school coach said, as a junior in high school, said, hey, you can go make money at Port Arthur Country Club. He's like, what's the country club? So he goes there. This is in the late 50s, early 60s. And he started to caddy. And that's how he learned how to play golf, carrying bags for white members. And he learned everything about golf. And they would take their clubs and just throw them away. And he would ask, are you going to use this? They're like, no, you can have it. So he ended up like collecting one club at a time, and eventually had a golf, bag of great clubs. And started when the sun went down and everyone went home. He was chipping and hitting and just trying to get better. But he didn't know what lied in his future. So he actually saved his money, and he was giving it to grandmother to buy shoes for everybody in the house. And so just this defining moment when he was a senior, and he was okay at school, but the defining moment was his coach said, so what are you going to do after high school? And they lived in a shotgun house right across the street from what was Gulf Oil. Today it is Saudi Aramco. And so, I mean, you can smell the sulfur from it, right? But my grandfather built the house by himself and moved the 13 kids in there, right, with my grandmother. And he said, well, I guess I'll go work at the plant. And that's where everybody went. And so his coach said, well, have you ever tried college? And he's like, I mean, what is college, right? Where is it? And what is it? And so he says, well, this place called Recipient University. And he goes, well, how do I get there? And he goes, well, I don't know. You might need to hitch a ride, but just go visit. Well, he ended up going to work to caddy that day at the Port Arthur Country Club. And he asked one of the white hey, if you're ever going down I-10 and you're going towards Houston or a little bit past Houston, do you mind just dropping me off at Prairie View A&M University? And so the white member said, sure. So Dad packed his one pair of shoes and two t-shirts and a pair of pants. Oh, it's gonna make me cry.
I'm
And
trying.
and so you can imagine they didn't go during the day, so they had to go at night so that they wouldn't get stopped, right, by the Ku Klux Klan or anybody else, right? So the guy's like, now I can only drop you off, but I cannot bring you back. And Dad was like, that's okay. And so, and to this, my dad is very like, very freewheeling. Maybe that's where I get it from. I like to hike, just go do whatever, right? So it dropped him off, and he went to the golf coach's office. The golf coach said, well, I don't have a scholarship for you. I don't have any money. And he's like, oh, that's okay. I'm just here to go to school. And so the golf coach was like, well, you need money to go to school, right? You got to pay for school. And so he's like, man, how am I going to do this? And he said, well, just come on out because these guys are from the city. They're from Houston, right? Some of them transferred from TSU, City Boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said they were from Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. They were sharp with their vests, and here he is with a t-shirt and some khakis and just some shoes. And he said he spanked all of them on the golf course. And the coach was like, wait a minute, we can find some for you. Make a long story short, he became captain of the golf team, 4-year scholarship. And he graduated. He did his undergrad in education and his master's in education, and met my mom there. And yeah, that was the start of the Carter family going from just a normal household, Black household back then, to being educated and in education, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we praise my mom and my dad for getting a college degree from an HBCU university. He was just inducted into their Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame at Prairie View. And so he became co-principal for, ironically, one of the elementary schools. His specialty is literacy. And so during the school season, he had, I think, first, second, third grade classes. And then in the summers when they were off, he would caddy at the Houston Country Club. And he's been caddying there, gosh, I'm 50. He's been caddying there for like 50 something years, still today. And when he retired from HISD, he decided to do that full time. But he also made money when I was a kid, being a major caddy to some PGA players. So like Hal Sutton, most recently, I think the youngest he's caddy for is Phil Mickelson. So every time Phil comes to Houston, he calls Dad to caddy for him. So yeah, Ben Crenshaw, a lot of the stars, right? And so when Tiger was coming up, it's so funny. Dad was like, oh yeah, I know Tiger. I know Charlie Stewart. I know, yeah, I played with them. And, and so I go, why didn't you ever go pro? And he's like, well, number one, I didn't have the money or a sponsor. And then number two, we had a kid, our first kid, which was you. Mother was like, you are not traveling across the country.
Right.
So golf is like, so most people have football or basketball as, or dance as their family thing. Golf was our family thing. Yeah.
He's a true legend. Wow. I'm telling you, I really am so glad that I'm doing this so we can highlight, your family and who made, how much they've imparted into you. And that's where you get that work ethic from, and how, like, I saw you, I'm Kafi. My dad, look.
I can't even imagine that young lady was at the back then saying, but I'm sure.
Girl, I remember the outfit you had on, that blue suit jacket, the shoes, girl. I remember.
My favorite.
Yes, blue. Yes, honey. Yes. But that is amazing. And so since we're still, I'm gonna just, talk about your mom and how the cooking. I know you are a very good cook because of your mommy.
Yeah, well, I can only cook a few things like great. My mom is, well, she was in college. She was PV homecoming. Like they didn't have sororities back then. But she was PV homecoming queen, and she was an honor student, graduated in biology, and she wanted to be a doctor, but she ended up to work in research labs and then teaching middle school. And she was a great contributor way back when to what was IB or AP classes in science. But her claim to fame in our family is cooking. And so she took my dad's Louisiana roots and her San Antonio roots, and she makes the best gumbo and menudo and enchiladas, homemade enchiladas and tamales. And let me tell you what,
I'm getting hungry.
I know we thought everybody knew way back when. We thought everybody knew what gumbo was or crawfish etouffee, and it did not become a phenomenon until like when restaurants were doing it in the 80s, I guess. And my mom would make it from scratch. Like she would take the all day, take the crawfish heads out and take the crawfish meat, clean it, saute it, and then she would even, I don't know what she did, but she went back and cleaned the heads and like stuffed the heads with this crawfish stuffing that she made by hand. And then like sent all of this in this great sauce. And we just took it for granted. Like,
I'm so good. I'm like, what? I don't know anything about this. Wow.
So she's doing well. She's had a bout with cancer, and but she's doing great. And both of them are just getting older and loving on each other. Like if you want to know what Black love is or love period, those two. It's sickening.
Yes, I've seen some of the pictures that you post of them, and how many years have they celebrated their wedding anniversary?
51 years this year.
Okay, 51. Yeah, I think I saw the golden.
It was their 50th, right? And we were this huge party and everything, and so of course, I just fixed up the backyard, their little patio.
That's the picture I saw. That's right.
Yeah.
And they were in all white, I think, right? The white. Yeah. I remember. That's beautiful. And they've just so that was during COVID too, right? That celebrate. You were able to do it after. Like 2021. Was it 2021?
Well, so because of COVID, it was just you and me and my husband.
Right. I remember. Okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, celebrating them on this, highlighting your daughter, your beautiful, special daughter. And so we've taken the time to highlight you all. So thank you. What's their names? Can you shout out their names for me? Mom and Dad, but the first name.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad. We're just going to say Mom and Dad. That's right. When you watch this interview, of course, like my dad, when I was interviewing, he said, do they know I'm your dad? I'm like, yeah, I've been saying Dad the whole time. Yes. So Mom and Dad. So I want to kind of just segue into like a little funny story. So I came to visit Kafi in Houston in 2002 when she was pregnant with Zoe, and they opened up their homes to me, and that's my first time flying to. This was the first time I had ever been to Texas, and saw so many sights. And we went to this restaurant, the Breakfast Club, with the backwards K, I believe it was. There wasn't a lot of people in this restaurant. Shout out to the Breakfast Club, because when I came back 10 years later with my mom, the line was wrapped around the building. We waited 2 hours to get into the Breakfast Club. And that was the first. Yes. Then that was like the first time that I had like catfish with tomatoes on top. I remember you was like, we gotta try the catfish and grits. I'm like, I don't know anything about. So yeah, and so when I brought my mom, we were trying to look for your home, and I was lost. I was getting lost. And then there's a gated community, like, and I said, Mom, I think she live over there. Mom, I think she live right over there. She was like, girl, I'm just enjoying the ride. And she was just like sitting back, and I'm stressing. And she's like, look, I'm gonna come get you. Just we met at this gas station. Here come Kafi whipping around with her back top, driving in that parking lot with the back truck. Hey y'all, hey. Drove us in, and we sitting there in the community, like, and I said, Mom, I told you she lived over here. And my mom still talks about that till this day. She's like, I had my own room, and you all were so hospitable. So that Southern hospitality, and opening up your home to us. And I had one side, which was the Jack and Jill with Zoe's room, and then my mother was way over on the other side. But it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful.
My husband was just like, make sure that they are comfortable and blah, blah, blah. And I think we gave y'all the code or the key or whatever, just at home and come and go. And
yes. So you've been, go ahead, hon. I'm sorry.
Because you're family, and it should be that way.
That's right. And I mean, yeah. So I told Kafi that, look, every 10 years, we were just talking on the phone. I said, look, I've been there 2002, 12. I said, 2022 is the year, girl. I didn't already tell my kids. I'm like, look, we're going to see Auntie Kafi and her family. We're going, and I still, even though I live in Virginia and I love the crabs, I still don't, the crawfish, I'm not there yet. I'm not delivered on that yet. Yes, I'm not. Anyway, but I learned about the etouffee and all of that stuff from my friend Latanya, my best friend. Her family, they're from Louisiana, so I'm getting there. But yeah, I'm getting close. All right, so this is a segue into just some questions that I have. What are you most proud of right now? Well, I know that's like layered, right?
Yeah. So I'll say a couple of things. So I'm proud of, number one, being a good mom to my daughter, Zoe. Like, I never thought I could have kids. And then second, being a cancer survivor, I mean, my whole goal, she was 10, I think, when I was diagnosed, and I was just like, gee whiz, is like TMI. She hadn't started her monthly. She doesn't know her locker code. She's going into 6th grade. Like, I just want to be there for her. Right. And so to say 10 years later, and she's in college, I'm like, I'm good.
Yes.
But I'm proud of raising a really good daughter. Yeah. I am proud of being one of the truly successful Black female wealth advisors in the country, which is, I don't take it lightly. I don't pat myself on the back, but I don't take it lightly. And I have a passion for these families that have made wealth on their own, right? And the blessing, and I just am helping these families and guide them to be good stewards of what the Lord has blessed them with, right? The last is I won't cry, but my life has been very layered, and there's a ton of trauma, and like trauma upon trauma upon trauma. And I am just proud of myself for being here. It sounds really simple, but that girl you saw in the bank, like walking in, I'm Kafi, that person back then was a person who was just trying to make it, right? And nothing was going to stop her. Today, I've softened a lot, which is great. And just grateful that I'm able to be here. So, yeah.
Yes, that I mean, like I said, I'm trying not to cry either, because I just thank God, for bringing you in my life, and
Yeah.
just thankful. So we're trying to hold it together, y'all. We are really trying. We're probably gonna get on the phone after this and be like, woo. So, I mean, that was another question, your greatest achievements, accomplishments. So you named a few of them, so
Yeah.
but if you had, anything else that you wanted to share.
Yeah. I just think that the Lord puts on this earth to do and or be something, and we don't necessarily know what that is until there's a defining moment. And I think my latest defining moment, where I heard his calling and him loud and clear, I received by my peers an award at Texas A&M University, the Black Alumni Association. And I heard loud and clear that I did what I was supposed to do, right? And that is continuously give back. And it not necessarily monetarily, but some people just need to see us in a place that they had no idea that it was you're able to be. Seeing Tuenika in a place where she's got these beautiful girls, this amazing family, and and that it's possible. Everybody doesn't have to be this corporate banker or this wealth advisor. Everybody doesn't have to be, a great athlete or, but I think there's something inside of everybody. And when you leave this earth, hopefully you've imparted something on someone to help them get through the tough times, and then to celebrate like we're doing a great time. Because I tell you what, I'm doing praise dances in the morning, and I'm loving life. Yeah. It's not over. I'm loving life.
That's right. And I want to say, like, you reached that mid 50 is the
I went into 50 like, what is gonna happen? Like, is the world gonna shake? Is the earth gonna but I just find like, man, you talk about boundaries. I know how to set them. You talk, I have a PhD in no.
Yes. Well, you got to teach your sis. No. But that's kind of like I was telling everybody that, I led that segue. We've been trying to plan this for two weeks, and you basically was like, look, on this day, I got like stuff I got to do. Look, I'm not in no hurry. You let me know when you can get your schedule together, because look, and I was like, okay, because I've been going through some challenges, like the self-care and working on my time management and running the kids all over the place and everything. But this thing right here, I didn't want to pick it back up and drop it again, and like not keep going. And I'm like, if I'm going to really do this.
And
go ahead.
Right. And then too, in all of that, I heard you loud and clear, right? In the text message, you're like, oh, I'm doing that. And then I was like, I need you to take a deep breath and take the day off, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're like, what the heck?
No, I took it like, that's my friend really telling me, look, you need to, and even before I got ready for this, like preparing put some makeup on my face. And I was like, we all get nervous, I'm like interviewing Kafi Slaughter, the one I look up to. Yes, you're a humble friend. I know that, but I'm always like, she just got the it fact, you know what I'm saying? And I just like, you've been so like, I remember one time I asked, I said, well, are you hiring? He was like, well, what do you want to do? I mean, come on, because you've always still been guiding me in those pathways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just was like, well, look, if I could just be her receptionist, I'd be happy to. If I could just get a seat at the table, okay. Like I saw your Instagram post, and you have to talk about that, the NFL, people that you met. Look, I'm like, what, my sis? I'm like checking the Instagrams. I see like check marks. I'm like, oh, and they're verified too. Okay. I was like,
and
my
that's
sis
so funny
is doing it.
It's so funny. I don't even like. I don't think about it that way.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Like and then somebody's like, "Oh my God!" Da, 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 da. Well, now wait a minute. You're making me scared, and I've been knowing them for 10 years.
Yeah, but that's why it's like, I just was like, I'm going to continue to. It doesn't have to be like an overnight success. I don't care. I'm like you said, the mark making that, when I leave this earth, I want to say I highlight, people saw that this girl that was my friend, look, I let it be known. Like, this is what a friend is. Somebody that you can go through divorces with, infertility issues, cancer, and job performances, interracial marriage.
Speak on
everything that we, hey, it's not about trying to coattail on the rich and famous. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is the person that has helped me be who I am. And I want to highlight that. And so I just was like, I got to get her done. Got to get done. Okay. By any means necessary. And I just appreciate, you taking this time, So I do want to ask some more, just a couple more, because I know what is your secret to success? What do you feel your secret to success is? Your secrets.
My secrets to success, as I'm telling my therapist, not right now. It's funny. My brother called me 2 days ago, and he's an entrepreneur. He has his own business.
Yes.
And very successful, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He called and he goes, "Hey, when you get not necessarily in a rut, but you're comfortable, how do you move forward, right? Like, I have these things, but how do you move forward? Like, what is it?" And I said, "Well, I learned it after cancer, right? Like, after I had physically healed from all the trauma and multiple surgeries. And I made up in my mind that, prior to that, I was just working at the bank in my mind, right? But I go, you know what? How do I define myself as a career woman? And what makes me important? And what makes me stand out? And what is it that I'm good at? And what niche do I have a passion for, right? And so I took kind of those things, and I shared this with him too. It was a defining moment where I told my husband, I didn't ask, I told him, I said, I know that we're not going to have any more children, right? And I know you have your own thing going on with your business. But in order for me to feel fulfilled, I need to make sure that I'm successful in what I do here, like truly successful. And he goes, "But you are." And I go, no. Like, for me, in my mind, right? And so he goes, so what is it you need to do? And I said, I need at least a year and a half of you allowing me to be the businesswoman that I need to be. And that means I'm going to go to lunches, I'm going to go to dinners, I'm going to brand myself as a true wealth advisor, right? So, and it's really tough to do, like in a nebulous market and money in motion, you know. And so I did that. Dressed the part, looked the part, talked the part, got more educated, and just kind of turned it on like 110%. And and I looked up, and like I had this pipeline of people that wanted to bank with me, right? And wanted to be with my team. And I've got this fabulous team that looks up to me, right? And um, you know, their livelihoods depend on me. And it's a great feeling. It's overwhelming at times, but it's a great feeling, right? And they will do anything for me to make our practice work. And so you asked me what defines success or what makes me successful. I think it's really honing in on who you are without anybody else, without a husband, without kids, or like, who is that? Who are you? Right. And maybe it's not a career. I was a stay-at-home mom for 2 years. So maybe it's at that time for me, it was, I want to be a successful mom in taking my kid to Mother's Day out, which was huge back then. I want to be a successful mom and go on a Bible study on Wednesdays and, you know, making sure that my house was immaculate and making sure that when my husband came home, there was food on the table, you know, just for me, that was success, right? And like, I, I'm like the bomb stay-at-home mom, right?
Yes.
And so I think it's just saying, what is it going to take for you to get to that next level that you want to be at? And it's so funny, all that I've accomplished, I'm at this lull, so to speak, with myself. And so I'm in constant prayer about what is it that I'm going to do next? What does the second half look like? And I think the second half has a lot to do with me giving that back in the form of speaking, me giving back in the form of, right? In the form of volunteer efforts, specifically in financial literacy
Yes.
and health education.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically cancer, right?
Right.
Breast cancer. But yeah, that's it. Like, don't make it complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know, pedal to the metal in like what you know.
Okay. That was wonderful. Thank you. Excuse me. Well, we've talked about a lot of things, but again, this is Women's History Month. So I wanted to, I have this kind of written down, I am woman. In our closing, give me what that means to you to be a woman, especially in a male-dominated world, and
So the easy part. So and people in my office and clients and even just friends know that I love to dress feminine. I love to be dressed powerful for the workday. When it's a casual workday, I eat today, flowy. I love it. It's a mindset, right? I am woman means I'm able to command a room without speaking. I'm able to one-on-one make sure that the person knows that I'm in control of me, right? I don't really care about being in control of anybody else, right? And just being powerful in your mind and knowing when to to be submissive, right? So I've always had this model. When I come home from work, you know, I don't wear the pants, right? I'm all his, right? Whatever he wants. And that's just how I live my life. So most people don't, that's fine, but that's what works for me. And so heck, I don't even think my husband knows exactly what I do every day. He just knows that a bunch of people, right? And,
Yeah.
but I do say, you know, we all put our pants on when we do wear pants, one leg at a time. And so I don't care if I'm working with a billionaire or a millionaire or the person that just wants to know more about banking and has nothing. I treat everybody the same. So I am woman means I'm powerful in my own right.
Perfectly said. Oh my gosh. How can you not? I mean, I just love her. Like, I'm gushing over you all the time. Oh my gosh. So I really, you know, I love you, and I'm so glad that we are friends and that God placed you in my life, and I cannot wait to see you in 2022. I mean, I see you here, but like,
yes,
physically, where I can give you a nice big warm hug. But yeah, so everything, I mean, this is going to be another conversation. So I would like for you to, you know, kind of, this will be your platform. You can take over. Yes, some financial literacy. I would love to have you on for that one day. And, you know, and cancer and health. I would love to have you on again for that too. Maybe a breast cancer October, you know, episode. And then I'm going to say July, our fun episode, because I'll bring my laptop and we can talk about, you know, how much does it cost to come to Texas when you got 5 kids? No.
Girl, and the price of gas and the price of
gas. Right.
Yeah.
Where you gonna stay? Well, we can stay Auntie Kafi's out later.
Yes. That'll save some money.
Yes. And then my kids can be like, okay. Yeah. Gated community. No. So they can see what that is like. But you know, again, this has been a wonderful conversation. This is Tuesdays with Tuenika. Again, I'm here with Kafi Slaughter, my friend of 24 years and counting. And we've just had a great conversation. And there's so much that we did not cover. But I've been looking at the analytics, and it says that people kind of look at these videos. So we are going to take it out soon. Do you have a favorite song? What's your favorite song right now?
I don't have a favorite song. I'm all over the map.
Okay. Well, we're going to acapella. I'm going to sing us out. No, so I'm learning a lot about the content creation and, you know, the YouTube and the copyrights and things like that. So last time I played Stevie Wonder, shout out to Stevie, and YouTube flagged that like, well, you get no monetization value on this, ma'am. Yes, because I would have to fight for the copyright for that. How am I going to fight some happy birthday copyrights? So, but I do sing, you know. So, like to hear it, here it goes. I am a woman, strong, fearless woman. I am woman, and I love me. I love you, Kafi. So yeah, that was unscripted. But again, thank you so much. And I cannot wait until, you know, our kids can see each other. Well, you met Gigi.
Yes.
And I told Gigi, I said, Gigi, you met Auntie Kafi when you were 1. You now 10, girl. So it's really time for you to see the whole plan. And if it be the Lord's will, it will happen, because we're putting in an atmosphere. We're going to consult him on that. And do you have any takeaways, or is Anything else? Any parting words?
Just real quick, I think that Women's History Month is fabulous, and I'm so glad you are doing this, and honored that you would have me. But I really think we as Black women need to see each other, and not hide behind our walls, right? So this, yeah, thank you, Tuenika.
You're so welcome. You're welcome. And I love you. And I love you all for watching. This is Tuesdays with Tuenika, and I'm about to sign out. Have a blessed day.